Hello students, this is Mrs. Jennifer Cruz from Lilavati, Lalji, Dayal, College of Commerce. And in today's class, students, we are going to study Secretarial Practice, chapter number 1, Introduction to Corporate Finance. Before starting with this chapter, students, let me tell you all that the total weightage of this chapter, okay, now here, chapter number 1 and 2 together, okay, it will comprise of 25 marks with option and 17 marks without option. So let us begin with chapter number 1, that is Introduction to Corporate Finance, okay. So first, students, let us all understand the meaning of corporate finance, okay. So corporate finance, students, it deals with raising and using of finance by a corporation, okay. It deals with financing the activities of the corporation, capital structuring and making investment decisions. So basically, students, corporate finance, okay, it deals, okay, with finance that is required in the corporate, okay. So how they make use of finance for raising their capital, for acquiring new things is what we're going to study in this chapter. So what is the definition of corporate finance? So according to Henry Owen, okay, corporate finance deals primarily with the acquisition and use of capital by business corporation. So how does the business corporation acquires and uses this capital is what this corporate finance is all about. Next, students, the following two decisions are the basis of corporate finance. So, two decisions are very important for corporate finance. First one is the financing decision and second one is the investment decision. Let's move on to the next topic, and that is importance of corporate finance. So, students, this answer is a very important answer for your board exam. So, why is corporate finance important is what we are going to study now. First one helps in decision making, okay. So the important decisions of the business enterprise, students, are determined on the basis of the availability of the fund that an organization has, okay. So without funds, it is very difficult for any organization to function, okay. So that is the reason corporate finance is very, very essential when it comes to decision making. Second one helps in raising capital for a project, okay. So capital is when a business firm, okay, you can say, so when a business firm wants to start a new venture, okay, it will require finance. So how will they acquire this finance? By raising capital. So corporate finance is useful in raising capital for a project. It can be in the form of shares, debentures, any capital can be raised if you have corporate finance. Third one is helps in research and development. So students, as you know, research and development is very essential for the growth and expansion of the business, okay. So if there is, proper technical work, proper research work, then it would help, okay, to, acquire new things into your business organization. But when will this be possible? Only when you have finance, okay. So if you have finance, it will help you in research and development. Next one is it helps in smooth running of the business, okay. So if there is proper corporate finance that is there, okay, so that finance will be utilized in giving the salaries to the people, to give, timely payment of loans can be done, new machinery can be acquired, you can do your sales promotion well, okay. So this, okay, if you have corporate finance, proper finance, it will help in smooth running of your business. Next one, students, is it brings coordination between various activities, okay. So if there is corporate finance, then what happens? All the departments can coordinate with each other properly, okay. For example, if in the production department, okay, if the department wants to produce a new thing and if there is lack of corporate finance is not there, what would happen? That department will suffer. But after the production department, okay, you have the marketing department, the sales department, all the departments will suffer, okay. But if there is proper corporate finance, okay, the flow will be continuous, okay. There will be proper coordination between all the activities and among all the departments. Next one is it promotes expansion and diversity. diversification. So students, modern machine, modern techniques, okay, are always required for expansion and diversification. Okay, so this corporate finance, it provides money, okay, to purchase this machinery, to diversify your project. Okay, hence you can say so it promotes expansion and diversification. Next one, managing risk. Okay, so risk, students, a company, okay, it has to manage several risks. Okay, the risk can be, sudden fall in the sale, loss, anything happen because of natural calamity, people can go on strike. Okay, the workers can go on strike. So to manage this risk, finance is required at every stage. Next one is replacing old assets. Okay, so assets like plant and machinery, they become very outdated after some years. So to purchase new machinery to replace the old assets, we require corporate finance. Next one is payment of dividend and taxes. So students, dividend that is to be paid to the shareholders. Okay, interest which is to be paid to the debenture holders can be paid on smoothly if there is adequate corporate finance. Then we have payment of taxes. Okay, so here in the business organization, students, they have to pay timely taxes. Okay, they have to pay the registration fees, the taxes to the government. Okay, so this will only be possible if there is adequate corporate finance. Okay, so with this, students, we've completed the first answer, that is importance of corporate finance. Okay, let's have a quick recap on the importance of corporate finance. It is first, helps in decision making. Second, it helps in raising capital for a project. Third, helps in R&D, research and development. Fourth, helps in smooth running of the business. Fifth, it brings coordination between various activities. Sixth, it promotes expansion and diversification. Seventh, managing risk. Eighth, replacing old asset. Ninth, payment of dividend and interest. And 10, payment of taxes. Let us now move on to the next answer, and the next topic is fixed capital. So what is fixed capital, students? Fixed capital refers to any kind of physical capital, okay? Any type of physical thing that you can touch, okay? It is tangible, okay? So fixed capital is a capital which is used for buying fixed assets which are used for a longer period of time in the business, okay? So these assets, okay, they are not meant for resale. They are used, okay, in the business for the productive work that is happening. So basically, fixed capital, in short, in one word, it is a capital used for buying fixed asset. Now let us study, students, the factors affecting fixed capital requirement. Okay, so what are the factors that are affecting fixed capital requirement? So first one is nature of business. Okay, so manufacturing industry, students, they have to invest a huge amount of funds in fixed asset. Okay, because they have to manufacture goods. Okay, so if you are a manufacturing business, manufacturing industry, that is the time when fixed capital requirement will be huge. Second, size of business. Okay, so if the business firm carries large scale operation, okay, fixed capital requirement will be more. If they do small scale business, then fixed capital requirement will be less. Third point, scope of business. Okay, so business which is carried on for the production, for the distribution process, okay, that is business which is done on a larger scale. So such business firm would require more amount of fixed capital. Fourth one is extent of lease or rent. Okay, so if an entrepreneur decides to acquire new assets, okay, on lease or on rental basis, so less amount of funds for fixed asset will be required for the business. So you do not have to purchase, you are taking it on lease, on rent. So here you will require less amount of fixed capital. Fifth point, arrangement of subcontract. What is arrangement of subcontract? So if a business student or if the business wants to subcontract some of the processes of production, okay, to some others, even at this point of time you will require limited asset, okay, because you are giving some part of the production process to somebody else. So there you will require less amount of fixed capital. Seventh one, acquisition of assets on concessional rates. Okay, so if the business firm, okay, the old equipments that are there, okay, if you want to purchase the assets, okay, with the you have in your mind, you have to foster industrial growth, regional level pay, government, they will provide. What will they provide? They will provide with land, building, material. Okay, so here in students, you can pay them. Okay, it can be made available to you at concessional rate. Means means you can pay it in the installment basis. So such facilities, when you get installment, concessional rates where you can pay on installment basis, that time again you will require lesser amount of your fixed capital. Next one is international conditions. Okay, so herein, if the companies, the companies which are expecting war, okay, they may decide to invest in large funds to expand in fixed asset, okay, because there is a war that is going to happen. So that is the point of time you will acquire, more fixed capital, because you will produce a little bit more in order to store goods for the future. So if the large scale organization which deals at the international level, they will require a more amount of capital, fixed capital. Next one, students, is trends in economy. Okay, so the economy, it keeps on changing. There are different trends in economy. It will keep on changing all the time, every time. So if the economy, the economy is bringing a very uncertain change, okay, that time again you will require more amount of fixed capital. The next point, students, is population trend. Okay, so if the business organization feels that the population is increasing, okay, at a very higher level, so it will acquire more amount of fixed capital, okay, to produce as per the requirement of the population. Next one is consumer preference. Okay, so consumer preferences, students, it keeps on changing. Okay, so whenever, okay, the industries which are providing goods and services which are in good demand, these industries will require a large amount of fixed capital. For example, the mobile industry, the manufacturing of mobile industry will require more amount of fixed capital. Last one is competitive factor. Okay, so the prime factor in decision making, okay, whenever you have to make a decision regarding a fixed capital requirement, so competition, okay, competition is one of the main factor. So if there is too much of competition, okay, in the market, you will acquire more fixed capital, to do some work in an innovative manner, okay, to overcome that competition. So here again, if there is competition, you will require more amount of fixed capital. So factors affecting fixed capital, students, you have to just remember where you will require more capital, where you will require less capital as per these 12 norms. First, nature of capital. Second, size of capital. Third, scope of the business. Fourth, extent of lease or rent. Fifth, arrangement of subcontract. Sixth, acquisition of old assets. Seven, acquisition of assets on concessional rates. Eight, international conditions. Nine, the trend in economy. 10 is the population trend. 11, the consumer preference. And 12, we have the competitive factor. Let us now move on to the next answer, students, and that talks about working capital. Okay, now what is working capital? Working capital refers to some of your current assets. Okay, it is a circulating capital. Okay, so basically it can also be told as current asset minus current liabilities. Okay, so when, okay, the circulating capital, it is coming and going, it is not fixed. For example, cash. Okay, cash is not fixed. Okay, so it is coming and going. Bills receivable, it's not fixed, coming and going. So working capital is a capital which is circulating, it is not fixed. Let us now study the factors affecting the working capital requirement. So again, students, we have 10 pointers that we need to understand. So first one is nature of business. Okay, so if you have a manufacturing business, okay, where you deal in large scale business, that time you will require more amount of working capital. Second, size of business. If the size of business is large, okay, large scale operations are carried out into your business, that is the point of time when you will require more amount of working capital. Third, you have volume of sales. Okay, so the volume of sales and the size of working capital, you can say they are directly related to each other. If volume of sales increases, then there is an increase in the working capital as well. Next one, students, is production cycle. So the process of converting raw material into finished good is called production cycle. Okay, so if the production cycle takes a little bit longer, that time working capital requirement will be more. Next, you have business cycle. Okay, so when there is a boom in the economy, the sales will increase. Okay, this will result to increase in the investment, which again will lead to an increase in the working capital. Next one is terms of purchase and sales. Okay, so if the firm, they do not get credit facility for purchasing, so that is the time they will require more working capital. But if credit terms are there for purchase of goods, okay, purchase of any asset, that time you will require less amount of working capital. Next one is students, the growth and expansion. Okay, so working capital. Okay, if there is enough working capital in the business, it will increase the growth of the firm, and that is the time you will require more working capital when you are on the verge of expanding your business. Next one is management ability. Okay, so the working capital requirement, okay, is reduced if there is proper coordination between the production and the distribution of goods. So if production distribution is managed well, okay, that time you will not require much amount of your working capital. Last one is external factors. Okay, so if financial institutions, okay, banks, okay, they provide funds to the firm as and when required, the need for your capital, for your working capital can be reduced. Okay, so with this we've completed 10 points of factors affecting working capital. Let's have a quick recap over it. First one is nature of business. Second, size of business. Third, volume of sales. Fourth, production cycle. Fifth, business cycle. Then you have terms of purchase and sale, credit control, growth and expansion, management ability, and external factors. Let us now move on to the last thing that is there in this chapter. Very, very important, distinguish between fixed capital and working capital. We just now saw, students, what fixed capital was, what working capital was, but this distinction is very, very important for your board exams. Okay, so first one is meaning. Okay, so what is fixed capital? It refers to any kind of physical asset, okay, that is fixed asset. So all your fixed asset comes under your fixed capital. Second one, working capital refers to sum of your current assets. Okay, all your current assets together comprises your working capital. Next one, nature. So here you have to remember one word, it stays in the business permanently. Okay, nature, it is permanent. There the nature, it is circulating. It keeps on changing. Then you have purpose. Okay, why do you invest in fixed capital? To invest in fixed assets. Okay, like it can land, building, plant, machinery. So this is required. This is invested in your fixed asset. And working capital, where is it invested? It is invested in short-term assets. Okay, what are short-term assets? Your cash, your account receivable, your inventory, all these can be termed as your short-term asset. Then sources, from where do you acquire fixed capital? Okay, so fixed capital can come from selling of your shares, debentures, bonds, long-term loans, whereas your working capital can be funded with short-term loans, deposits, trade credit, etc. Then you have objectives of the investor. So your students, the investors invest in fixed capital hoping to make future profit. The main word is future. What is the objective? To make future profit. Whereas in working capital, it is for getting immediate return. Okay, so investors invest money in working capital for getting immediate return. Last one, risk. So investment in fixed capital implies more risk, whereas in working capital it is less risky. So more risk, less risk. Okay, so the 6 pointers, students, are there into your textbook. We will just have a quick recap. Meaning, I'll just give you the main word that you need to remember now. Meaning, your fixed asset, there you have current asset. Nature, permanently keeps on changing. Purpose, to invest in fixed asset. Here, to invest in short-term asset. Sources, we have selling shares, debenture, bond, long-term loan. Here we have funded with short-term loan, deposit, trade credit. Objective here is to make future profit. Objective here is to make immediate return. Last one, risk. Here you have more risk and there you have less risk. Okay. So with this, students, we've completed chapter number 1, corporate finance. 2 things that you will study very well in this answer is importance of corporate finance, and second, distinguish between fixed capital and working capital. So thank you, students.